Hello and welcome. This will be the first episode in a series where I play through the entire campaign on hard with just this hero here, solo, my Squire, made him level 1, and to keep things interesting and to make sure it's fair and a bit of a challenge, I basically sold everything and got my money down to 22 gold. So that's all I have, and I'm going to keep my loot filter set so that I don't really have access to anything else. The only thing that's going to show up is this pair of boots, which I have because I needed something to get my gold down this low. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in and start the campaign on hard and see how big of a challenge this is. Okay, here we are in Deeper Well. Now, just to clarify, I manipulated my gold to 22 by upgrading some stuff and then selling it, upgrading it, selling it. Finally had that one pair of boots left. Upgraded that until I had 22 gold. So this is still my main account. I just wanted to set up a situation where, you know, I'm emulating a fresh start, essentially. And I'm thinking this will be an interesting challenge run, just to run through the stock campaign on hard with only the Squire. So I'm going to speed up quite a bit of this run just to keep things interesting. Some of these early waves, they move kind of slow. Like, this is just 7 monsters. And right now, a level 1 Squire, what can I do, you know? So I set up some walls, and I'm just going to let the walls take them out. Now, there is an archer, so I'm going to have to beat him down pretty slowly. I beat him around quite a bit, and eventually he does go down. So overall, not a bad start. I get a level up, and I'm just picking up any gear I get at this point. Anything is better than nothing. And for whatever reason, I guess I forgot to set my loot filter to pick up everything automatically, just so it wouldn't sell anything that might be an upgrade. Now, I'm going to drop some harpoons, because what else do I have? I have harpoons and walls at this point. I'm going to use what I have. Now, in retrospect, this build would have been better with the walls further down the stairs a little bit, like a few steps down, so that way the harpoons could angle downwards and just have a better trajectory for killing the monsters as they were coming up. But, you know, hindsight is 2020. I do make some pretty crucial mistakes early on. I don't take the difficulty seriously enough, and you'll see me pay for it in Ancient Mines. This guy, I actually make something of a stupid mistake here. I bat him toward my crystal, and then he actually gets a shot off on my crystal, so I lose that XP bonus that you normally get from not taking any hits on your crystal. Now, I just carelessly dump all of my points into range, not even thinking like, I'm basically mentally thinking like, oh, this is very similar to playing through with a full hero deck on medium, which is ridiculous and foolish. So, you know, I'll pay for the mistake of being reckless with my stats in due time. But we're in the next phase now, combat phase of Wave 3, and I'm just building some stuff, you know, harpoons. That's all I really have. So, like I was saying before, with moving the walls up, if they were further down the stairs, I could have a harpoon on the first pillar on the fence up here where I'm standing, and it would be able to hit both lanes. You know, hindsight's 2020. That would have made more sense if I were trying to optimize, but I mean, who's really concerned with optimizing Deeper Well on hard difficulty with just a Squire at this point? But another wave down. You know, things are looking okay, but it's pretty easy so far. Not much of a challenge yet. Just doing the normal stuff, getting the gear I grab, and I'm on the lookout for some upgrades, but nothing's really dropping that's worth anything yet. Still piling on the damage here with the harpoons. Harpoons are a great defense, and part of the reason I wanted to do this, you see my wall goes down there. That's what I get for putting all my points into range, which was a mistake. Should have put a point or two into Fortify. Would have made a lot of sense, given that I'm sort of running a hybrid all-in-one builder. But whatever. I become the wall at this point. Another wall goes down there too, but I know the harpoons are going to take everything out, so I'm really not sweating it. Another level up. The levels are going pretty fast, I'm assuming because I started at level 1 on hard difficulty, so the XP is a bit boosted compared to starting on medium at least. So in particular, I did want to do this on the Squire because when I played through the game on medium and then insane, I actually skipped hard on my first playthrough. I played with an apprentice builder and a Waller Squire, like most people do, and I wanted to explore the capabilities of the harpoons in this game. They are a great tower. I really like them. They have infinite pierce. They do physical damage, so they are definitely worth using, and they are an excellent defense. And obviously, they'll be heavily featured in this series. So this wave is pretty easy. I'm over here flexing. I love the Squire block. Just looks like he's doing like a double bicep front flex, but Yeah, that's deeper well for you. Not too big of a challenge, even with a fresh start on hard with a mono deck, a single hero deck. Still not that bad. So on to the next one. We are going to go up to Ancient Mines now. Full disclosure, and I wanted to leave everything in this run so you saw exactly what I went through, exactly the process, exactly the steps that I took to get through all this, and I'm speeding through this way, way fast for a very specific reason, and that reason is that I actually lose here. So what happens is, very carelessly, again, I am just not caring what I do with my stats, not taking it seriously, and basically wave, I think, 4 of this run through Ancient Mines, I get overwhelmed. I mean, everything, you'll see everything go down in a hot second here. It's because it's so close together, the orcs cleave, and it was just a bad run. I do barely make it through this wave, and then, yeah, this is wave 3. The next one, it's I'm not so lucky, and everything ends up not making it. And there are crucial mistakes that I made, like I just did not diversify my stats. And when you have so few points and you're up a tier on difficulty, like right here, I slowed this down because this kobold's coming in hot, and I face tank it. Very stupid. But I learned my lesson. The lesson being, don't just recklessly BS your stats. Gotta respect the difficulty when you're running through on a single hero. You know, you can't steamroll the game like you would on medium with a full deck. It's not going to work that way, so lesson learned. And I do end up reevaluating things and reallocating my stats. What's ironic is because I just made a stat allocation guide, but, you know, who does this? So I'm going to adapt at this point, make the case that I need to sort of spread my stats evenly. You know, and it is smart early on to spread your stats out like this. When you only have a few dozen points to work with, and you don't have any from gear or anything like that yet, yeah, it's fortunate that you can just rearrange at will there with your hero stats, and you might as well diversify because the points are weighted. So the earlier points give you more benefit as you know. I only have a few points into power, and my damage on these spike walls is over triple, which is interesting. They were hitting for 52 before, and then they were just hitting for 172 there. So the early points are very valuable, and totally mix it up. You know, especially if you're doing something like this. But I mean, if you were just playing like a Waller Squire, typical apprentice builder with traps and auras, you'd follow the same principles. And if you haven't seen my guide, you should check it out. I'll leave a card here. But basically, you know, what I will do and what you'll see me do is I'll treat this guy like a builder apprentice, where I get some range until I'm happy with the range, and then I do a 2-to-1 ratio with power to defense rate in my harpoons to optimize them, because that's the ratio they like. So I'm just doing some inventory management here. I am getting a lot of junk. I do find some miner equipment, and I don't know if you know this. I don't know if this is well known, but miner gear always rolls with power. I'm going to do a little tips to guide at some point, and I'm going to talk about that. So right now I have 20 power, and I'm evening up my rate a little bit. I think I get it up to 8, just because I'm trying to follow a 2-to-1 ratio as best I can. But at this point, it's a different ballgame. There is a massive difference between having 0 power and 20 power, and at this point I don't really care as much about the range because they can hit everything. And what's nice about the harpoons is they actually need range a lot less than other towers, because as you can see here, the harpoon bolts, they just pierce. They pierce and they fly indefinitely, so having less range on them for this sort of scenario makes a lot of sense, because they take advantage of the pierce. There you go. They just shred. They're so good. So a lot less need for range, because anything that's behind the first thing that's getting shot is also getting hit. Even a flame burst tower, which is somewhat comparable because you get some splash damage, is nowhere near as effective at killing lines of enemies the way the harpoon does. So I'm laying them in pretty thick here. I mean, I don't really care for the bouncer much. In this scenario, it's all about the spike blockades and the harpoons. So I'm just laying them in pretty thick, and I do find a helmet here. Now that's a pretty nice helmet. Anything with a little power is going to go a long way for me right now. It's an obvious benefit to stack as many points as I can. the littlest amount of change in stats makes the biggest difference in the beginning, so a few points here and there end up making a huge difference. And more or less what ends up happening in this run is after I kind of reevaluated things and adapted my stats to harpoons and what I'm doing, I pretty much have a smooth and easy time from here. Turns out harpoons are kind of busted, and hard difficulty is not that hard. But you know, these lanes, they're very harpoon friendly. They're kind of long and straight, and you can see, I mean, all 3 bolts shoot at one time, and then they just kind of fly through the whole lane, kill everything behind it. So I'm having a pretty easy time at this point. I got a lot of mana left over, so I'm going to throw some upgrades on there, and that's a big jump in HP for that one level of upgrade. You know, it goes from about 1,300 to 2,100 and some change, so that is a nice chunk. Tossing some more upgrades around here. You know, at this point, I'm pretty much assuming that I have this in the bag, and I notice that I get quite a bit of stuff in my inventory there. I'm always going to be on the lookout for upgrades, and at this point, I'm getting close to a level where a lot of the gear that's dropping, I can wear it. I do end up getting some pieces that I can't wear just yet, but I do reach a high enough level to take advantage of them pretty soon. So always on the lookout for some upgrades. Now I'm just running around getting some mana, upgrading some stuff here. There is going to be an ogre wave 5, but we're not quite there yet. This is still an easy enough wave. So the way I'm speeding things up is I'm kind of going 4 times faster when the wave is just coming in, and then 2 times faster, twice as fast when things are actually getting killed. And then I'm kind of slowing it down at the beginning of each build phase to just pace the video out so not the whole thing is sped up. And I figured I would just do all of Act 1, including the finale, in the first episode, and that way it's a 3-part series per character. It would be fun to do this with more characters. I especially like the Squire just because I really didn't use harpoons at all in my early playthroughs, so I figured why not do it like this. And you know, I am looking forward to experimenting more with the Squire defenses. I think I can have a lot of fun with bouncers and slice and dice towers, and I'm also looking forward to maybe finding a few uses for even the bowling ball turrets, which are you know, they're not quite as good in this game. In DD1 they were amazing. There were a handful of places where they were amazingly effective, like that one little straight lane that goes directly to the core in Ramparts next to the little house there. You could put a couple in that lane and they would just shoot balls into the little pit there that the stairs make, and they'd fumble around and beat everything up. They were great. But we have an ogre in the lane right now, and I'm just going to keep the wall up. Not really concerned about an ogre at this point. I'm going to try to get a 5th harpoon down. I think I do, but he's so close to dead by the time it's down that, you know, it's just to be sure that he dies. I just like going overkill on these ogres, because why not? What else am I going to do? So that's the W for Ancient Minds. Going to flex on the ogre, of course. Got to flex on him after he's dead to shame him, of course, trying to come down and beat my walls up, but not a bad run. Learned my lesson after losing that first time. Pretty brutal. Now we're moving on to the lava mines. Now this is a pretty easy run in general. This map is not particularly challenging. One thing that I did not like is I didn't like, even though it would have made sense to use this lane, the longer straight part, I didn't like how wide the gap was. I was afraid that the enemies would walk around the wall here, and so I moved it up just to be safe, and that way I can use this little pillar up here for a harpoon or 2 also. A little bit of foreshadowing there. I start it and then stop it. I do put one here. Now this is a great lane for harpoons because they have a nice straight line to shoot down, and they do quite a good job defending that lane. So just gonna collect some mana here. It's more of the same at this point, really. I mean, I just got the cannonball turrets. I don't have the slice and dice towers yet, and harpoons in this instance just kind of make the most sense. I do stick with spike blockades and harpoons for most of this Act 1 playthrough, and I'm actually really excited to experiment with the different blockades and see if maybe there are scenarios where the spike blockades aren't the best thing to use or don't make the most sense. I know that for flyer lanes, bouncers are great, and you can also use slice and dice for flyers. They do work too, and I do actually get into some slicey dice action later on, But in this map, given that I don't have them yet, just sticking with the standard harpoon and spiked wall combo. Awfully convenient that the harpoons shoot through the walls here, because I'd have a huge problem if they didn't shoot through these. If they didn't shoot through my spike blockades, I almost died here. I ran off, and it's a weird thing that you can run off, then jump and double jump in the middle of falling. I don't know if that's intended, but I hope it stays in because it's saved me quite a bit. So I'm scoping out some gear here, and kind of always keeping that in the back of my mind. Anytime, if you're this early on and you find like a nice piece, it can make a big difference. And I am fortunate in that I did find some decent gear to stack up some power, and I will be getting some decent gear even still to just further snowball. I do find quite a bit of armor, and my strategy tends to end up being that I just hang on to a set or two of armor that I'm not wearing. And you get so much armor that you do get enough good pieces. That was like a green pair primitive there. You do get enough pieces to make a few sets of armor pretty early on anyway. So that's one of the reasons I always say just run full sets of armor on your builders. You don't want to miss out on that 40% bonus. So there's a nice pair of boots there. Anything that's got a few tower stats like that this early on, that's money. So I picked those up. I'm pretty happy about those. Just throwing some upgrades around here. I'll get the wave going pretty soon. There we go. And I did slow this down here too, because I just wanted to highlight again just how sweet that pierce is. Oh man, it does so much damage. And my harpoons are hitting for well over 1,000, 1,100 something damage now. So we're banging on all cylinders at this point. We're cooking. And these harpoons are doing work. More damage down there. I love seeing those numbers pop, like piercing through everything. That's some good stuff. Definitely like the harpoons. Really glad I decided to do this with the Squire and not the Apprentice. Although I think that'd be worth doing. I think that'd be fun too, because then you're relying on arcane barriers for walls, and that could get pretty sketchy. And then you don't have elemental strip aside from the barriers, the elemental walls, which I don't know if that's a well-known thing. The elemental barriers, they do strip immunity from elements, but you have to hit them. So the enemies have to hit them, and then they lose the elemental immunity. Now, obviously, I don't care about that on a Squire, so that I have some flyers coming in here now. There's a flyer lane. A few flyers are going to spawn in, but I have some harpoons, so really not sweating flyers. The harpoons are going to turn around and take them out just fine. So I'm making some upgrades here. There's that chest piece that I liked. That was nice. I'm going to get quite a bit off of it. Anytime you get that big of a spike in defense points, that's nice. So now I have a full set of minor gear. I'm looking good. All my stats. Leveling up this piece, and I'm getting quite a bit of value out of this armor here. So much so that it's a pretty wild swing in stats, and I'm gonna spend all my money. That's been my strategy, is to just see what I have, pick out the few pieces that I actually like, save them, sell everything. I just saw a lot of stuff going in my inventory. It's important to sell the junk you don't want and roll the money into your gear early on. You're going to get a lot of value for those first several points, so there's really no reason not to do it. No reason to hang on to and hoard any of that crappy gear that you're really not going to do anything with anyway. Might as well make some use of it. So this match is winding down. We're at wave 5 here. There isn't really going to be much of a challenge at this point left. At this point, I'm kind of snowballing, even though it's hard difficulty. It's pretty safe to say that it's not bad to start on hard, especially if you know anything about the genre. If anyone's brand new to the genre, here go the flyers coming in. The harpoons turn, take them out, no problem. Harpoons are excellent for flyer defense. So yeah, if you're new to the genre, you don't know anything about tower defense, of course then, by all means, start on medium or easy even. Learn the genre, learn about tower placements and lanes and choke points and all that stuff, and then move it on up. So here's the ogre. Whoops. Yeah, I almost lost it there too. He's getting burned down so fast at this point. I try to put another harpoon down, but he's just dead. So there's no point. The harpoons, they're too strong, too much for him, too strong. Gotta flex on him. And that's a wrap for Lava Mines. Now I am going to just check out my stats again. I'm going to redistribute some money, I think. I have some level up points there. Some rune power available. So I am trying to keep a 2-to-1 power to rate ratio here, just to maximize DPS. If you didn't know, that's a maximize DPS method for harpoons 2-to-1. You saw maybe that I had some nice miner boots there. Looking forward to using those. I think I'm level 13 currently, and once I hit level 14, I'll be able to stack up some more stat points by using some better gear. Just more inventory management here, just going through my junk, keeping the stuff that I want, selling the rest, and I'm going to roll that money into some more stat points. No reason not to. I know I have a big fight coming up at the end of this. Even though I'm kind of steaming through these waves and the match so far, it's not exactly, the boss isn't exactly a pushover. So I am going to drop some walls here, sticking with the standard tried and true strategy here with the poons and the spike blockades. I'm being a little particular about the placing here because I don't want orcs to cleave through the wall and damage the harpoons. Now this placement isn't great. I'm not really giving the harpoons much opportunity to shoot in a line, setting them up like that. I end up moving them, I believe, but this is sort of my standard setup for this place. I actually have a video guide on a Wave 24 start, which I'll link to it in a card here too. Wave 24 start with some pretty reasonable stats and a good build, and definitely viable for a pet run too. Check that out if you're interested. But Wave 1 stuff happening here, not a lot going on. Still don't have all my harpoons down, so it's always a little awkward at the start of a wave when I don't have enough mana to put a harpoon down on every lane. What I might do in the future is start with harpoons and put the walls in after the fact. Yeah, see, I move these back. I wasn't happy with the placement there. I do slide them back up the stairs, and I really, what I'm looking for here is I kind of want the harpoons to be able to shoot farther down the lane at a higher pitch, a little bit of a higher elevation. That way maybe instead of going straight down into the ground at the end of their flight trajectory, they'll fly across the lane and hit some more stuff. Just trying to think of more ways to use the harpoons. And I saw a monk weapon, and I'm like, how did I had a bit of a break between, I just took a break and got some food between this this stage and the last one. So when I went back into the game, my hero deck kind of went back to the way it was or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I saw a monk weapon. I'm like, why is there a monk weapon on the ground? But back to the normal stuff here. These harpoons, they do great work. Obviously, I'm only needing one to take out those stuff in the back there. And this wave goes pretty quick. I got all my lanes loaded up with some harpoons, and I'm not gonna have to worry about anything. The lanes are long enough to take advantage of the harpoon damage, and the harpoon trajectory, the flight path. So we're looking good. Another decent piece there. You know, on some low-level gear, sometimes you'll get some nice rolls. If you get a roll, or if you get a piece with rolls of like 3, 4, 5 points in multiple tower stance, you're looking real good. And that's the kind of thing that can like make a huge swing in your power. It's just funny playing with one hero because I'm so used to playing with a full hero deck and gearing everyone up. Now at this point, I'm prepping for the boss. I'm prepping up for the boss here, and you know, the way I have to get through it, I don't really have much of a choice, is I just have to harpoon him down. I mean, I can tank some damage with my block ability. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to have to tank the boss and wait it out for the harpoons to do their work. And if I aim enough at him and live long enough, hopefully he'll go down. So I'm setting up. I'm preparing for the boss. Going around getting some mana. You know, the priority at this point is still looking for gear, collecting mana, upgrading towers as I can, and doing the full setup for the boss, using up as much of my DU as I can. Now, one thing that I end up not really considering is the DU builder bonus, the completion for using all of your DU. I didn't really try to finagle it in any way to use that last one, and I probably should have, but oh well. And there's the boss whining already. He's going to be coming out soon. A couple more waves. Spoiler alert, I do beat the boss, but not without some trials and tribulations first. Just looking through some gear here. Nothing crazy. Just my usual, sell what I don't care about. Gonna keep that money. What'll be interesting to see is how well this scales. So I plan on playing the whole campaign. and I have a feeling I'll have some trouble on a few different places. I'm still not sure how I'm going to beat the dragon at the end of the summit. I'm going to have to harpoon him, I guess, or maybe I can get him with some melee damage. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure that one out, but I'm sure I'll get some curveballs at some other points in the playthrough too. Some other weird spots where I don't realize how harpoons are limited. I'm sure I'll run into some snags and have to be creative and weird just to get through some stuff soon. Moving right along. Upgrading things, more boss prep. All I'm thinking about is boss time is coming. It's about to be boss fight time. None of these other monsters are really causing any need for concern. I'm pretty confident. Just running through, picking up the gear, getting the mana. Another build phase. I don't even bother to slow this down. I'm just, running around prepping and looking up for gear. I pick up a bunch of items here. I pick up everything because I want to sell what I don't need and just squeeze out some last minute upgrades just to really be as prepared as physically possible for the boss. I end up selling some stuff, getting more money. I end up switching a piece or two of armor out, I think, and leveling it up a little bit. It ends up not really being that beneficial because I swap a piece out and upgrade a new piece, and I just spend as much money getting it back. But that's where I'm at right now. 41 and 20, and I add some points there to 41 power and 20 rate for to be specific. And that's about where I want to be. So on to the combat phase. I'm ready for the boss at this point. I'm just upgrading, and I'm looking to optimize for the boss fight itself. I'm coming over here, and I'm looking at these towers, and I end up deciding to sell one of them on each side because as far as I can tell, one is holding it down just plenty enough. A little earlier, I looked at the kill counts, and I decided I'm not going to need 2 back there. 4 up here is better than 2 and 2 back there. More damage on the boss is going to be better. Just repairs and upgrades all around, picking up the mana. Want to make sure everything is maxed out and I am as ready to go as I can be. I want to level this stuff up, especially because I just took away a harpoon. So of course, I'm going to want to beef up either side. Upgrade the wall, upgrade the harpoon. Why not? I figure level 2 on each side ought to do it. At least, that's all I can do at this point, so I hope it does fine. But I did hit level 14, which is why I was able to take advantage of some other gear. So, I think at this point with those stats, I'm looking good. I mean, I'm on par with where the game expects me to be given the gear I've been getting. So, of course, it's appropriate that my stats are handling this pretty well. And now we're coming up on boss time. So, I kind of forgot that on this computer I have the movie folders disabled. So he just shows up, and I was so used to the cinematic of him coming in first that it was kind of jarring, but I just kind of block. I'm trying to stay alive. Now I make a crucial error coming up. I see that wall is getting low, and I think I'm going to need to save that, otherwise the crystal, blah, blah, blah. Stupid mistake. I die trying to go get that. Didn't really need to in the first place. My harpoons are doing just fine, holding the lane down, so I reprioritize, focus the boss, and it turns out it's pretty easy to dodge his attacks. So if you just jump at his after his swings, you dodge it, he goes down. I'm happy. I'm stoked. Gotta flex on him a little bit. Flex on the boss, flex on the ogres, flex on him when you win. That's rule number 1. And I know I have a brooch in here somewhere, so I'm looking for that. It's decent. Epic. It's got a lot of stats on it. Something, better than nothing. So I do move on to the bonus stage. And, I guess the standard Act 1 ends with the boss, but I don't care. This is the finale. And frankly, this is one of my favorite stages of all time. I ran this stage so much in Dungeon Defenders 1. I just really liked the layout. I liked experimenting with builds. I ran survival on this stage in DD1 all the time. It was super fun. I really, really liked it. So more than happy to play this stage as part of this playthrough. So more inventory management here. Nothing special. I'm speeding way, way quickly through this. Just selling the stuff that I don't care about. I got myself a new weapon here. just stacking tower stats at this point. I'm pretty much abandoning the idea altogether of being any kind of hero DPS character. So 47 power, 22 defense rate. I even it out to be 46-23, 2-1, just where I want it. Maximize those, not DSTs, I almost said DSTs, those harpoon towers. So standard stuff here again. Spike walls go down. Don't have quite enough mana for a harpoon at each lane. So definitely next time when I start playing Act 2, I'm going to try starting with harpoons instead of walls. I think I'll be better off doing that because the harpoons are going to kill stuff and the walls are really not. But, you know, I didn't really bother taking that route this time. Now, one thing I did consider here is that I can knock these guys off the ledge, so that's helpful. I don't really care that much about the mana, so I just knock them off the ledge instead of having to fight him and beat him down the whole way. Knock the archers off the ledge and let the level do the killing for me. Finally have enough mana here. Gonna lay down another harpoon, collect up some more mana, and there's enough for my third. So once you have one in each lane, it gets a lot easier. Somewhat similar situation here to Deeper Well in that, in retrospect, I think maybe moving the walls down the stairs a little further might have given me a better flight path for the bolts on the harpoon. Not really sure, and frankly not too worried about it. This map runs a tad bit slow because of how far down some of the doors are that the monsters come from, and that stairwell is it's pretty long, so there's a lot of area for them to bunch up in a line, and a lot of killing that my harpoons end up doing. So I rethink my placement here, and I turn it toward the middle there. And I do that because I remember that there are flyers coming in down the middle, and fortunately I do remember just in time because they are in on this wave. So fortunately that won't be a problem, and the harpoons will hopefully turn in and target them without any concern. Just dumping my points in there, spread it out a little bit, going a little bit into range, a little power, a little rate. I'm wondering when the time will come that it's going to hurt me that I can't go all in on Fortify. I do have a few points in, but not many. And I'm assuming at some point I'm going to have to prioritize Fortify because these walls are eventually going to turn into jelly. But laying down some harpoons, going out toward the fire lanes directly, and going to let this rip. I'm sure we'll be just fine. Yep, there they go. Yeah, I did slow it down here just to show that the flyers get taken out very easily by these harpoons. Now, harpoons are just excellent defense structures for flyer lanes. One of, if not the best things that you can do for flyers, because the flyers, when they come in heavy in survival games, they come in these thick packs, and they fly in straight lines. So the harpoons are great for chewing them up and killing them real good for you. So the bowling ball turret goes down there, and it's not great. First of all, that's just a terrible place to put it. They just wound up bouncing into the lava, so they didn't do me any good there. I do end up selling it and going with another strategy, but not before trying a second one. It's just not that great. It's a bad spot for them for sure. It would have made more sense to put them in the middle if I was going to try using them, but I go with the slice and dice here. Why not? I figure that'll be fun, that'll be different. I put one here too for the flyers. If they make it, you know, they'll just get all sliced up. And I figure, why not change it up a little bit? Make things interesting. Just experiment a little. That's part of the fun of the game. So I change it up a little bit. Do some slice and dice towers on the flyer lanes and in the middle. And I also decide, since I have some DU, I get rid of the spike blockades and go with bouncers. And I figured too here, bouncers might be cool because they may push them into the lava. Who knows? But they don't make it to the bouncers anyway. Spoiler alert, they don't really. The enemies don't make it that far. The harpoons, they're too strong. They're too good. They do too good a job. So I don't even need to worry about it. But throwing upgrades around on everything, as expected. What else am I going to do with the mana at this point? Not quite capped off on DU, but only 4 left. Not a lot I can do with that. I should probably have just put something down just to get the bonus, but I didn't think about it. This is the stuff that moving forward I will think about. You know, as of right now, as of recording this, I haven't actually played Act 2 yet. I am looking forward to it. I really hope this is well received because this was fun. This was an interesting thing. This was actually inspired by the Pokemon challenge runs that you see on YouTube where they play through a whole game with just one Pokemon, and I figured, well, I could do something like that for Dungeon Defenders. Why not? See how it goes. So I am going to prep for the Ogre here, the true final boss of Act 1. The true final boss, but he's no more after just a short amount of time here. That Slice and Dice does a ton of damage, and I have 5 harpoons on him, so naturally he goes down. Flex on him for the win. Flawless victory. So, yep, that's Act 1 right there. Thanks so much for watching if you made it this far. I really had a lot of fun making this. It was super interesting to run through with just one hero and kind of have all my eggs in one basket. Definitely an interesting challenge. You see there I got some nice boots. I'm probably going to do some gear upgrading before Act 1 and Act 2 just to see what I have. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. You know, I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm really looking forward to rolling out Act 2 and seeing how it goes, see what kind of curveballs I get thrown at me. So look forward to that. Subscribe, please, and thank you very much.